Welcome to Mission to Inspire, where we share life experiences in our careers, personal lives, society, culture, religion, finance, family, and much more. Meet your host, Shola Ajibade, as she takes you on a ride to fuel your inspiration.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. And on this episode, I've got Petrina Ten with me. Hi, Petrina. You're welcome.
Hello, Shola. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming. So Petrina is the co-founder of Planet Wellness, and she's on the show to talk about her success story and journey all the way from Malaysia. So who is Petrina?
Hi, everyone. So I was born in Malaysia. My parents were both working. So my brother and I, my elder brother and I, we were made to be very independent from a very young age, like about 7 onwards. We were made to actually do the housework, help with the housework, and get ourselves ready for school as well. Because in those days, there wasn't any rule that you couldn't leave young children at home unattended. So we were really unattended. And that got us to have that very independent mind from a very young age. And at school, I was one of those who was very happy to be at school. I still remember my brother when he first went to kindergarten, he cried the first day. And my mom, when she said, well, when it's your turn, what's going to happen? And I said, I'm fine. At 5, I was just happy to go to kindergarten and meet all the other kids, right? So that was my life. And in secondary school, I was made a prefect, and later on I was actually appointed as the assistant head prefect as well. So I had a lot of responsibilities even around school. And I think that got me to get a lot more mature at a very young age. And then I went on to study accountancy. As I said, my parents were just middle-class income earners, so they couldn't actually afford to send both of us overseas for better education. So my elder brother, being the elder one, went first. He went for 4 years and studied in Dublin. And then I thought I was just going to be left in Malaysia because all the funds were used up. However, towards my last year in accountancy, my dad said, well, I've got just enough to hold you for like 6 months. So off I went to UK at the age of just under 23 at the time on my own. One-way ticket, parents paid for the accommodation slightly and obviously the course itself. And then I told myself, I said, I can't actually ask my parents for any more money. So while I was studying, I decided to work as well, get part-time jobs. So I did jobs like reception work, cleaning, waitressing, those sort of works, which we could get easily as a student and on flexible hours as well. And I worked my way up, started my own firm, employed quite a number of people. And then I was working a lot, very long hours. And when I got to my 30s, mid-30s, I said, I can't actually keep working like 80 hours a week, that sort of thing. It's not going to last. So I told my business partner that I was going to semi-retire early. Everyone was shocked because they thought I would be there for life. And I just totally changed the scene. And when I said that, I really didn't know what I was going to do. And then I met my husband, Ronald, and we got along really well. And then we started the practice Wellness Iridology, or Planet Wellness itself. And there it is from there.
Oh my goodness. That is so interesting. Yes. So your accountancy firm was your own, was it? So you co-founded
it was in partnership with someone else.
With someone else. Okay.
Yes.
And you left all that at the age of 30. Oh my goodness.
Yes, about 35 I left all that. Yeah. So
wow, you must be a very brave woman.
Yes. Well, the other thing which I did was when I was 28, yeah, I think it was 28, I actually bought my first home, and I was actually still on a work permit then, visa work permit. Yeah. And this is one of the other things that a lot of people thought I was crazy, because they said, well, what if you have to go back to Malaysia? What are you going to do with the house? Well, I just said, sell it. that's no problem. However, a lot of the peers around me, they were overthinking because they were in that situation as well. They said, we can't buy a house because we are on a work visa. We don't know where we are. And I said, nobody in life really knows where they're going to be the next day. Things can happen, things can change. So you just have to go with the flow. So, and I'm really glad I bought my first house that time. That was in 1996, because obviously the prices were really low then. I wouldn't be able to have got the house that I'm currently living in if I hadn't actually got the first house, because by the time I sold it 10 years later, the price had appreciated like, I think about 3 or 4 times.
Oh my God. Wow.
So,
Wow. That is so interesting. And you know, from what you've said, it's all about the mindset. So you've got that mindset from a very young age. Yeah, that you could actually achieve your goals, and you're not looking too much or focusing too much into the future. You were actually living in the present and then taking that forward to the future.
That's right, yeah. And one of the things that actually pushed me to buy the first home is also because I was renting a room with a family who had 4 children. So there was a couple and 4 children. Okay. So it was pretty noisy. I was there for 4 years, and it was just a room and shared bathroom and a kitchen and all that. And one day after about 4 years, towards December time, they told me, they gave me notice and they said they want the room back. And I told them, I said, come on, it's December, it's almost Christmas. How am I going to move out at that time? Because it was actually snowing as well, it was cold. And I was on my own as well. However, you know, for whatever reason, they didn't really care. So they said, you just have to move out. And then when I went through that, it was really challenging. And I said to myself, I don't want to be in a position where I will be evicted again on very short notice. So thankfully, I managed to find alternate accommodation, again, renting. And I rented for like about 6 or 8 months whilst actually looking for the first home itself. Wow. And that's where it is. So sometimes in life that, you know, when you're pushed and you don't really know why you're being pushed, it's really for the better. Yes. So always look into the, you know, the positive rather than looking at the situation as it is or worse than it is.
Yes. So instead of focusing on the negative side of the event, focus on the positive.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that tip. So please, can you share your success story from transitioning from your home country to the UK? Because I know you've got success stories along the way, and I know you've already shared some with us. Yes. I know there is much more.
Yes. So as I said, when I came over the UK at the age of 22, 23, I was single at the time. I didn't know many people. And however, I said that I wanted to be financially independent. So I managed to find work and I didn't want to rely on my parents. A lot of my peers at the time, they were spending money like they didn't really care. Like every day or every week, they'll be going out to eat. And whilst I was actually more disciplined. So I managed to save up as well. And that's actually managed to get me my deposit for the first home. Most other people couldn't do that on the same. In fact, they were actually funded by their parents and still they could not do that because they were spending. Whilst I was just planning towards my first home. So I actually managed to save a deposit. So that's it. And also at the time, I also wanted to learn how to drive. I did have a driving license back in Malaysia. However, being the youngest child in the family and being a woman, things are a bit more protected there, or parents are very much protective. So although I had my driving license, I was not allowed to drive at all for like 4 or 5 years. So when I came to the UK, I said, this is one of my goals as well. I actually want to drive and own a car. So I took only about 10 lessons, despite not owning a car and not being able to practice. The only time I could practice was actually at the driving lesson itself. It was like 10 lessons. And I managed to actually pass first time as well. So I'm actually very proud of that.
That's really good. A lot of people actually take that test for how long. I actually took that test 5 times before I passed, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think everyone's different anyway. So
I know,
sometimes they say it's actually best if you don't know, so you don't have the bad habits. So in a way, it was again another blessing that although I had passed the test in Malaysia, I did drive for like 5 years. or I
Oh,
wasn't allowed to.
okay.
So I didn't have any bad habits anyway. So when I studied the UK version, which was very different from the Malaysian way, because in the UK, you actually drive on the road. Well, in Malaysia, you do drive on the road as well. However, all the parking and stuff is actually done in a sort of a private compound. So you don't really have the actual cars passing. Well, in UK, you actually have the actual traffic on the road while you're trying to park. So that was a bit different as well.
That's true. That's very true. One of my biggest obstacle then, one of the reasons why I failed was my reverse parking. I
Yeah.
couldn't get it perfectly.
Yeah.
And I had to do it 5 times, to be honest. I know the fifth one, I had to pray. I knelt down and I prayed to God and I said, God, this has to be the final time. I don't
Yes.
want to do this again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's different. So I always say that yes, while you should look up to people who have made it, never compare your journey with theirs, because everyone's journey is individual. So you could have spent 5 times trying to pass. I could have done it once, but it doesn't make me a better driver than you, if you know what I mean. So
yes, it's true. And everybody's learning style is different as well.
Yes. So anyway, I met my husband. We were actually the other thing which was challenging is because he was in Malaysia working, and I was over here quite settled. So when we met, we were actually having quite a long distance relationship for I think it was about 5 years as well, which is again a success because it's very difficult to actually make that long distance relationship work. So it involves a lot of trust, a lot of communication as well, and the time difference as well, because it was like 7-8 hours difference.
Yes.
But thankfully, in these days, there's internet, there's free overseas calls on platforms and stuff, so you don't really have to incur a lot of money trying to communicate with each other.
That's very true. That's very true. Any hurdles that you overcame along the way?
Well, hurdles is like, I remember when about 2+ years ago in 2020, we thankfully, actually it was in 2019, we thankfully decided to attend a friend's wedding in St. Lucia. For whatever reason, they chose a few days before Christmas. So you can imagine the prices were sky high. However, we made the decision saying that we would attend the wedding. And we're really glad we did, because after that, and the reason why also is because we had really planned to visit Malaysia and Australia. Australia is where Ronald, my husband's originally from. We are going to attend a reunion for him there in Australia, and then visit my family in Malaysia in February and March 2020. So because of that, of the finances then, obviously the trip to St. Lucia costs a lot as well. But we actually said it's once in a lifetime, not every day someone gets married in that country. So we said we'll go, and we're really glad we did, because what happened after that? Lockdown happened, and everything went really hard. So we actually did those traveling in 3 countries in those few months. So, and then when we came back from lockdown, we did lose quite a lot of money, because the airlines that we booked the tickets with, they canceled their flights. So we couldn't actually get our money back. So when we came back in March 2020, it was a very challenging time, because everything was shut, and our clients weren't coming to see us. So it was a very difficult time for us financially. However, what we did was, thankfully, again, we actually invested in a mentorship course, and the person actually started teaching us to get our social media done. Before that, we didn't have any social media. Most of our work was from referrals, word of mouth, or networking in person. So we got, during the time 2020, our YouTube channel, our first YouTube channel. We got our Facebook posts done as well, 4 times a week. YouTube channel with 3 videos going out every week. And we got our website done as well. And we've got 2 blogs going out every week as well. Wow. So we got active then, and that's really a blessing. And also in September 2020, I published my first book, this one, the Full Truth or Half Truth, just a little small book. It's a book I wanted to publish for a long time.
Can we see it again?
Yes, it's Whole Truth or Half Truth. You can actually find it from Amazon. And
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Yeah, you can just either search for my name or search for the title, Whole Truth or Half Truth.
Okay.
And that became the Amazon #1 bestseller at the time.
Wow, that is a big success story.
It is.
Actually, that is not an odo. That is a big success story for you. So you managed to write that book during the lockdown.
Yeah, the hurdle was really like following what the mentor was going to tell us to do. Because, you know, many times we learn things and we said, yes, that's nice to do. But when we get down to doing it, we never get it done.
That's true.
So I was actually following the mentor.
Wow. That is so great. What's the title of the book again?
It's Whole Truth or Half Truth. Is there a right answer?
Half truth. What is it about?
What happened is actually it's sort of like the observations of my life between my transition from Malaysia to the UK. In Malaysia, some people may not agree. You might resonate with this from being from Africa as well. Is that sometimes when people tell you something, they don't really mean it. You know, there's a lot of like hypocrisy. And then over here, sometimes when people tell you the truth, they're a bit too blunt. So I actually wanted to just compare the various cultures as to when you tell the truth, when you tell like the semi-truths or so-called white lies, and how you should actually really try to make it as truthful as possible. On the same time being also polite in that sense, not to actually hurt someone's feelings. And also it's hard because especially when you're trying to mentor someone or coach someone and you want, you mean well. However, what happens is sometimes the teacher may be too blunt. Like for example, when I was growing up, I did have teachers at the very young age of like when I was teenagers. They used to call me stupid. They used to call me names and stuff. And you know, when you're at that age, fortunately, it didn't quite affect me. However, I think most of the younger generation these days, if you're called names and negative names, it will actually impact you negatively. And I just didn't want the current generation to actually go through that as well. So this is why I actually shared my book. It's actually like a very humorous way of looking at things.
So would you say it's more of like incorporating two different cultures?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. For example, one of the examples I quote in my book is when I was, again, back to my driving lessons. So in Malaysia, my brother, being the boy, he had all the freedom. He had a car when he was learning how to drive. So he actually had a lot of practice as well. Well, for me, I only had the driving lessons because I was not allowed to drive as well, even in Malaysia. It was just driving lessons, that's it. Not even practice with someone else. And I remember on the eve of my test, obviously I start studying for the theory part of it. I was in my room studying, and my brother, being my brother, he was cheeky at the time. He just said, Petrina, nobody fails the driving test, at least the theory part. Nobody fails, right? And he said, if you do fail, you're going to embarrass everyone. And that was like his words at me. You know, I was like probably 17, 18 at the time. So I didn't quite like it, but because my brother told me that, I actually pushed myself and said, I cannot fail because I'm going to embarrass everyone, right? Yeah.
How old was your brother at the time?
He's only about 3 years older than me. So he was like 21 and I was probably 17, 18. And he literally said that. I still remember the words like 30, 40 years later. He just said, do not fail this test because it's the easiest test to pass. It's the theory. And you're going to be really looking really stupid if you fail, right?
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Yeah. It's so funny. But then it's good because that's your brother pushing you.
Exactly. It was his way of pushing me. Yeah.
So you're not on your comfort zone. It's
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Off your comfort zone to do it.
And then another example which I quoted in this book is when I came over here in Malaysia. I said there's different cultures. In Malaysia, when you go to someone's house or when a person buys you food, if you're still hungry, they'll actually ask you, would you like more, a second helping? In Malaysia, or the Asian way, is actually just say no. Although you want it, you just say no. And then the person offering will actually say, are you sure? And then they'll ask you, are you sure, a few times, and then eventually you should give in and say yes. That's a polite way. You can't really say like, yes, I want more, right, straight away. When I came to the UK, I lived with an English couple, and I practiced that way, although I was still hungry. And they took no as no. So I learned really fast. I learned really fast that when you're hungry and you want more, just say yes, because it was on the table. It's just but this is just the way the different cultures.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the same with my culture as well.
Exactly.
Like in Nigeria,
Yeah.
you cannot bluntly tell your parents or people elderly or older than you that you want more.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that is
so, like I said, the stories I share there, a lot of people probably can resonate with them, whichever culture they're from, whether they are British, Asian, African.
Yes, wherever we're from on the continent.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Any inspirational advice for our listeners and viewers out there?
Before we go into that, I also won 2 awards last year, December last year. You can see the awards behind me there. It's the Implementer of the Year and the Female Entrepreneur of the Year.
Wow.
So so the inspiration I wanted to share is, as I already said, I am someone who, as far as I can, practice what I preach. So in the health and wellness business, when we recommend someone to actually change their lifestyle to eat something, we also practice that as well. And that's probably one of the reasons why I won the we won the Implementer of the Year as well. And obviously the female entrepreneurs, because I've managed to obviously make our business, which went almost zero, survive during the lockdown as well. And on top of that, we've got a few other businesses as well.
Right. Okay.
So the inspiration quotes I'd like to give is basically never give up. If you really want something, do not give up. If you do need help, get someone to mentor or coach you, or even have a chat with someone who's actually on that same journey as you. Because what you see the so-called successful person go through, you never really know the whole story until you speak to the person. Because oftentimes what we see on social media is just like, it's similar like what we say, like a swan. If you know how the swan is like really calm on the surface, but if you look under the water itself, they are really like paddling really hard. And this is a lot of times true as well in any success journey.
That's very true. That's very true. You're really right anyway. Whatever we want to do, if we have a goal, aim, a vision, a mission, whatever it is, it's best to always work and share ideas with like-minded people and get help, advice, inspiration from like-minded people. Like you said, get a mentor or a coach, or just, get help generally. So thank you so much for that. And we should never give up. Thank you so much. Yeah. So the take from today's talk show is never give up, because you never gave up, Petrina. You never gave up. From coming all the way from Malaysia to here, starting your own business or co-starting your own business with your business partner, and then semi-retiring at the age of 35, and then meeting your husband, and then starting another business, which is what you're doing now, which is a success story. You've got those 2 awards, which we're looking at the back of you there, and the book that you've written as well. And your business is going so well, helping people in terms of their nutrition, their well-being. It's really great. Thank you so much for sharing.
And also, back on the theme of never give up is, again, I do know a lot of people, especially now, because we are so busy with our lives, with our careers, being with someone, finding a right partner is still on the cards. A lot of us, we tend to get married later. And I was one of those as well. I got married, I think it was at the age of about 47 or so. So it was late. And again, a lot of people, again, because I come from Asia, there was a lot of peer pressure there as well. And people had already written me off. You know how they say you're going to be left on the shelf?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So one tip I'd like to give to especially single people or people who have sadly broken up or got divorced or for whatever reason that they're on their own at the moment, if you're looking for a life partner, again, don't give up. The tip that I followed is basically to enjoy your single life when you're single, because you never know when the right person's going to come around. And this is basically what I did as well. I wasn't actually looking for Ronald when he came to my life, and neither was him, because he gone through like 2 divorces as well. So when we met, it was because we weren't actually searching so hard. We were just being comfortable with our own company and not really searching desperately for that person.
Wow. So sometimes we could get what we want without really desperately searching.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have a goal. We know we have a goal. We're working towards it. And sometimes when you see what you want, you know it.
Exactly. And also for me, what I've observed during my life is I've been someone who's always had to wait a lot longer to actually achieve various things. Like I said, how I started was I wanted to go overseas, but my situation did not allow me to till it was later in my studies and various things as well. Same like when I got married. Most of my friends got married when they were like either their late teens or, young 20s, 30s. And sadly, some of them actually divorced now. So what I'm saying is that sometimes when life makes you wait, it's because the universe or God or whoever you believe in has something planned better for you. And it's not always the ones who get it early in their life that are going to make it long haul.
Yes, that is very true. So sometimes when we wait, it's because God, the universe, the creation, the creator wants something better for us. So there's a different plan for everybody. And we have different journey besides. So it's not the same journey for me, it's not the same journey for you.
Exactly.
So I can't compare myself with you. And I can't say because Petrina has been through this journey. Shola has to go through that journey to arrive at the same destination. It's not going to work. Thank you so much for your word of advice and inspiration. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
And until next time, it's goodbye from us. Thank you, Petrina.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Mission to Inspire. Subscribe if you have not already done so. Like, comment, leave a message. Let's stay connected. Let's jointly inspire the world.